Extraordinary. Hello? Hello? Hey, buddy, how's it going? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to OMAC Season 4, Week 3. As always, it is your host, pretend racing driver, Marcus Osborne, in the booth, here to bring you some wonderful commentary for what is a sprint week. For those of you unfamiliar, here at OMAC and Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge, as we almost watched Sean Kelly get absolutely trucked there on the track. That was pretty dangerous. But we're here, week 3. It's a sprint week, which means we have a doubleheader night. 2 20-minute races. First one's going to be at Hungaroring, which you are seeing now, and then after this race ends, we will take a quick trip over to Zandvoort for the final race. Each race tonight, we got 20 minutes of practice. We then have an 8-minute solo qualifying session, and then we have a 30-minute race. In the 30-minute race, there is likely to be a pit stop. I think 50% fuel in the cars. There's just enough fuel for about 25-ish minutes of racing. Unless you are very good at saving fuel, then you should be able to make it to the end of the race with no pit stop. So we'll see some fuel saving strategies tonight. Not too much any tire saving strategies. It's only, like I said, 30-minute sprint race. So not much tire there. But special tonight, newcomer to OMAC. Let's focus the car on him. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. Mr. Tyler Langenberg, the 91 car. Not raced in the OMAC series before. He is a newcomer, and he has shown up in the 4GT. Now, if you know anything about iRacing, GT3 cars, 4GT is pretty terrible. And so he's going to show up today, and he is going to show everyone what's what in that 4GT. Currently sitting P4 in open practice, so I'm excited to see what kind of moves he has in store for us. Looks like we got about 8 minutes of practice to finish up before we start qualifying, so this is your last chance to get a beverage, get some food, get whatever you need, sit down, and enjoy the race. And I will check back up with you at the start of qualifying. All right, looks like we got about 2 minutes left of open practice until qualifying starts. So the first race of the night, we are here at Hungaroring, which is in Hungary. About all I know for that. This is a 14-turn circuit. You heard that right. There's 14 turns in this circuit. It looks pretty funky. It's kind of weird. There was a lot of talks with all the drivers beforehand, and it's not turned out to be a very popular circuit. I'm hearing a lot of talks about, kind of getting struggle to get a flow down, struggle to figure out what's going on. So this could be an interesting race. I said if everyone sucks, then it should be a close race. So we'll see. We'll see. It looks like weather out there, it's going to be 84 degrees. We got about 49% humidity and a partly cloudy day. 14-kilometer-an-hour wind. I don't know, it's probably about 7 miles an hour. But we do have a very hot track temperature out there, 116 degrees Fahrenheit. And Hungaroring is already a pretty hard track on the tires. Now you add in 116 degree track temperature with that, and this track is going to eat through the tires. So if drivers aren't careful, they could be running on pretty low tire at the end of that half hour. And it looks like Tyler Langenberg is up to P2 in practice with that Ford. That's looking pretty surprising. We do have 2 more drivers than last week. We're up to a big 10. Very exciting. New driver Tyler Langenberg and Devin Adams. Devin Adams has raced with us before, but he was not here last week, so we'll see what he can do. Jeff McDonald, who was able to run away with it last race, looks like he isn't quite finding the pace that he had last week. Looks like he's about half second off of Nate Sides. So we'll see if he can make it up. As I said, Hungaroring, a tricky track. We are going to see some people struggle here tonight. It looks like practice is ending, and we are into qualifying. We'll see who is the first one out on the lap. It looks like Nate Sides is...
I am again crashing the OMEC broadcast booth as Bob Lindell, number 77 Porsche. Again, a shout out to Marcus for broadcasting for us tonight. Appreciate your work on this, and I think everybody does all along the grid. So have a great night, Marcus. Thanks for pitching in, and hopefully I'm not at the bottom of the podium to talk to you later.
Thank you, Bob. Scaring me as usual. Bob Lindell. But we have Nate Sides first out on the track with his outlap. And I was going to go on board here with Mr. Nate Sides, who has corrected me last week. I did not pronounce the name of his car correctly. For those of you uneducated peasants such as me, it is not a Porsche. It is a Porsche. So Nate and his Porsche is coming up to turn 12. So we're coming around the final 2 hairpins here, and then we will see what kind of time he can throw down on his first qualifying lap. This is just an 8-minute session. Everyone will be solo, and everyone will get 2 laps. So we'll see. Coming around the final hairpin here, turn 14, down the main straight. He's really going to open up this Porsche and see what he can do. Coming down this very long straight, down to turn 1, which is a very sharp right hand increasing radius hairpin. It's very tricky to hit the apex here and let the car run out, but you don't want to run out too far there, otherwise you will get a slowdown. Coming up here to turn 2, it's a kind of gentle downhill left-hand hairpin. It's really tricky to kind of scrub the front tires going around there. And then right after that is a very fast right-hand kink. You want to flick it through there. You don't want to run too wide on the exit of turn 2, or you'll get a pretty bad exit there. Then up here through another left-hand kink, that would be turn 4, into another very swoopy hairpin, turn 5. He's going to feather it out of there, and he's going to come up to this tricky chicane. 6 and 7, very sharp, very slow. You want to cut those curbs, but not too much, otherwise you will be dealing with another slowdown. And then you have this kind of weird, it's like an S section, but it's all 90-degree turns. Not my favorite part of the track. Come around here, fast left sweeper up to turn 11. Onto what I would call the back straight. Once again, coming up right before those 2 hairpins of 13 and 14. And these hairpins, these last 2 hairpins and the first hairpins are the ones that will really eat your tires if you don't do it right. It's super easy to scrub those front tires. And then you are looking to have a bad time. So Nate Sides coming around the final chicane. And looks like he is able to put in a 1:47.4. That does put him on pole, but he's quickly knocked off that pole by Jeff McDonald, who put in a 1:47.2. And it looks like that entire time we were on replay mode because I am a noob. Let's see, let's get back to TV cam here. So far we have Jeff McDonald back to dominating form in P1 by 0.2 of a second. We'll see if Nate Sides can take over that. Nate Sides, of course, in P2, starting his second qualifying lap to see what he can do there. P3 in the Ferrari, first non-Porsche of the night, Landon Orr in that beautiful orange OMEC Ferrari. He's currently sitting in 3rd with a 1:47.8. Looks like I'm still in replay. Hold on. We might be having technical difficulties. Yeah, it looks like we're having a little technical difficulties, so I'm going to leave you for just a few moments, and I will be back shortly. Okay, sorry about that. Don't know what was going on, but it is fixed now, and we have almost 3 minutes left of qualifying. Jeff McDonald and Nate Sides are done with their qualifying run, so unfortunately Nate Sides so far will be starting P2, 0.2 of a second behind Jeff McDonald. Tyler Langenberg in the Ford is up to P3, only 0.3 off Jeff McDonald in the lead. Very surprising to me. Making his way up to P4 in the Porsche, Patrick Cantrell. Ended last week not in a good spot. Last place. He said that if he got last place again, he didn't want to get interviewed, but he will be getting interviewed if he gets last place again, because we're going to have to figure out what's going on with him. now sitting in 5th place, Landon Orr, who we did see spin on the screen. I was going to say we could take a look at that, but I can't find it. So he's sitting in 5th. I believe he is finishing up his final lap. Looks like he's coming around the final hairpin now. We'll see if he can improve and work his way up from 5th at all. His last lap was a 47.2. And it looks like he is not able to improve. He is still there sitting in 5th place. Devin Adams, who's not on the track right now, is in 5th place. John Kelly sitting in 7th. And Nick Tyrrell in the Lamborghini again, another oddball, sitting down there in 8th place. Looks like he can't quite find the pace tonight. It's 3.5 seconds off of Jeff McDonald. I'm thinking he just hasn't found some good pace yet. Looks like him and Landon Orr are still both on the track. I would say this is his final lap to find a good time. Two members who haven't set qualifying times, Bob Lindell and Chris Kraus. I don't know if they just weren't able to make something happen, or they're just choosing to start from the back. I'm not sure. It looks like Nick Terrell's coming around the final hairpin. He is the last one on track. And we're gonna... Oh, he's coming into the pits. Never mind. Looks like he will be starting there in 8th place. Must have just been on his incoming lap. It looks like Landon Orr is actually going to finish this lap. He's coming around the final hairpin. We'll see if he can knock Patrick Cantrell out of 4th place, or maybe Tyler Langenberg out of 3rd place. We'll see as he crosses the line. And that would be a no. He is still there in 5th place. And looks like that is our order. And looks like we're lining up on the grid here tonight for this 30-minute sprint race at Hungaroring. Starting pole position, Jeff McDonald in that Ninja Botanicals Porsche. 2nd place, we have Nate Sides in his Team Rahal Porsche. P3, newcomer tonight to the league, Tyler Langenberg, showing up in that Ford GT. I'm excited to see what he's got. P4, Patrick Cantrell, much better than last week. Up in P4, ready to see what that OMAC Porsche can do. He'll be fighting his teammate off the line, P5, Landon Orr in the OMAC Ferrari. P6, Devin Adams. First time on the broadcast, first time me seeing him race, so we'll see what he can do. Looks like he started mid-pack there. Hopefully he can make his way up. John Kelly, P7, again in the Porsche. He will be out here, hopefully battling with his teammate, Jeff McDonald. They are on the team Old Age and Treachery. Let me make sure. Kind of cut that off on me. Old Age and Treachery Racing. Jeff McDonald and John Kelly. Hopefully John Kelly can make his way up. He did get caught out on a lap 1 incident last week and just kind of had a rough time from there, but hopefully he can just put his head down, find his pace tonight, and finish a little further to the front. Nick Tyrrell. I talked to him after the race, and it is pronounced Tyrrell, so I'll have to stop myself from saying Nick Tyrrell. Of the Pony Express Racing Team. Here in 8th, he had a very good showing last week, had some trouble late in the game. Kind of got messed up with the safety car. He'll be one to look out for. I don't think those qualifying laps were true pace. Hopefully he'll get the track figured out. And then back in 9th and 10th, Chris Kraus, Bob Lindell. was going to say, it looks like starting from the pits, but no, they will be starting from the grid. I see him back there. Hopefully, it's a good race for them. So as we come up to the line here, we're around the final hairpin. The safety car is in, and we have the green flag, and we're ready to race. And it looks like Nate Sides did get the jump on Jeff McDonald in that Porsche, and Patrick Cantel is right on the back of him. 3 wide, coming into T1. Tyler Langenberg throwing it up the inside with that Ford. And he takes the lead. The 2 Porsches were struggling on the outside, and Tyler Langenberg sneaks through in turn 1, but it looks like we do have contact. Chris Kraus and Devin Adams went off track. Let's take a look and see what happened. Coming around turn 1. Ooh, looks like Chris Kraus gets on the back of Devin Adams there. Chris Kraus losing his bumper multiple times. It's glitching through reality. I'm not sure if he's doing too good there. And Devin Adams got away with a spin. He's pretty slowed down, but looks like he got away with no damage. I don't think they're going to be happy after that one. Back to the front of the race in a shocker. Tyler Langenberg holding on to first place. Snuck through, found a spot while everyone else was fighting. And behind him, Nate Sides in the Team Rahal Porsche, able to sneak ahead of Jeff McDonald. And it looks like Jeff McDonald has tumbled all the way down to P5. I'm not sure. I'm looking to see how he got back down there. Let's see who passed Jeff McDonald. It's been Landon Moore past Jeff McDonald. Oh, yeah. Looks like him and Nate Sides. Again, cars glitching together. Having a little trouble with reality out there. But that was just enough to push Jeff McDonald all the way back. Sitting now in P5. It's a pretty horrible start from the front runner. But I'm sure he'll have a fun time working his way all the way back up the field. It's going to load up there eventually. We're kind of struggling tonight. So up front, we do have Tyler Langenberg still in first place. Landon Orr up to second place, knocking Nate Sides down to P3. It looks like Nate Sides did go off the track. Let's see what happened here. Coming around that final hairpin, it's tricky. Let it run ride. Swang the back end of that Porsche out around, and the Landon Orr in the Ferrari was just able to capitalize that. Drag race down the main straight, coming into T1. Who can be later on the brakes? Looks like it is definitely Landon Orr, and that Ferrari takes the inside line. Nate Sides wants to try for the switcheroo, but really doesn't get it done, and he is back there in third place now. What a spicy race. What an upset. Not what I was expecting. Newcomer Tyler Langenberg coming in the underdog car. Showing everyone it's not the car, it's the driver. I think that's what he likes to think. He's starting to pull away from the field. Back here we have in P2, P3, Landon Orr. Starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Nate Sides. I think he's looking for his first podium of the season. He's going to be looking to keep it. I don't know if he's pulling away from Tyler up there, but he's going to try his best to hold on. I would think the Ford doesn't have that great a suspension. It's not able to ride the curves as good as that Ferrari, but the Ferrari is notoriously not that good on tires. So on a track that's really high tire degradation, the Ferrari might struggle this week. Nate Sides, who often doesn't make mistakes, is slipping back a little bit, and he has 2 other angry Porsches right on his tail. That of Patrick Cantrell and Jeff McDonald. Patrick Cantrell had a wonderful start this race. No longer taking up the rear, is now sitting in 4th place. He does have Jeff McDonald behind him to fight off. And I am on the replay. Oh my goodness. What is going on? It's still stuck on the replay. What is going on, everyone? That's not happy with me at all. It doesn't want to. I don't know. Well, I hope that was still good commentary. Patrick Cantrell is now behind Nate Sides. I wonder what happened. It looks like Jeff McDonald crashed. Let's take a look at that. Was missing out on all sorts of stuff. Jeff McDonald behind Patrick Cantrell. Was it coming up trying to make a move? Oh no! I'm not quite sure what happened there, to be honest with you. And it looks like John Kelly and Nick Terrell crashed. Let's go see what's happening here. John Kelly right behind Nick Terrell. Since his teammate Jeff McDonald spun it, trying to make that pass on Patrick Cantrell. We're coming in. Ooh, that is not a good one. John Kelly was done a little dirty on the first race, but then just gets in the back of Nick Tyrrell there. Let's see that again. Coming down here, up the back straight to the left-hander, heading up to the final hairpins. And just gets on the brakes a little late, can't get it to slow down, and just spins around Nick Tyrrell. Looks like very minimal damage. But Nick Tyrrell is not going to be happy about that one. Does this go back to live for me? I don't think so. It definitely does it. We'll go back to live ourselves, I guess. And hopefully this will be fixed next race. So, in a surprising series of events, Nick Tyrrell back in last place, now behind Chris Kraus in that bumperless Mercedes, trying to make a pass for him, trying to see if he can make up any time in this short 30-minute race. Chris Kraus not having a very good race. Lap 1 accident, also falling behind. You do still have a fast repair in these 30-minute races, but there's not much you can do, you know. It's only 30 minutes. Once something happens, you're just kind of screwed. Hopefully he can use Nick Tyrrell's draft here a little bit and kind of pull himself up front. Devin Adams still on his recovery from that turn 1 incident with Chris Kraus, making his way back up the field, getting behind John Kelly. John Kelly came off pretty good. Kind of pit maneuvered Nick Tyrrell there a little bit, but got away with no damage. And probably hoping to stay ahead of Nick Tyrrell. Otherwise, he's going to have a pretty angry Lamborghini in his rear mirrors. Bob Lindell keeping it clean. Keeping it clean, keeping it out of trouble. I haven't seen any major incidents. I think he's just out there trying to survive, but he's kept his car damage-free. Starting off much better than last week. Not in last. He's up there P6. He's fighting mid-pack. Doing much better tonight. Jeff McDonald, 6 seconds up the track from Bob Lindell. Still trying to recover from that spin earlier with Patrick Cantrell. I don't know if that was just netcode. Oh, looks like John Kelly crashed. Let's take a look at John Kelly. Coming up to turn 1. We'll see if he just got loose on a braking or what happened here at turn 1. Just not enough brakes, but keeps on the track, keeps it clean. Like I said, time folks, this is a tricky track. Looks like Devin Adams did end up getting around John Kelly. A beautiful pass there on the inside. I think John Kelly is definitely losing some pace. That spin could have damaged the tires. He could have some hot, stressed out tires. He could just have some nerves from crashing so many times. You know, sometimes you get too many spins, then you're a little tense, you're a little rigid, just can't drive that well. It's tough. I've been there. I've been in that position. Once again, it's killing me with this. We'll fast forward on our own. That's okay. Don't worry, iRacing. I got it. You don't have to do it for me. I'll do it for you. Looks like Devin Adams still trying to hold back John Kelly there. He might be... John Kelly might try to make a move here. Devin Adams out way wide. That's definitely going to be an off track. Let's take a look and see how many incidents everyone has racked up here. If I can find it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it right now. And John Kelly coming down the inside of turn 1, looking to make a pass on Devin Adams. They're coming side by side down into turn 2. Devin Adams has the inside line, and he is going to keep it. Looks like John Kelly trying to take a tight inside line, looking to get a run down this straight. Gonna try to tuck in the draft, gonna try to make something happen. There's this fast left-hander coming up, and then into a hairpin, into a good passing zone. He's right there in the back of it, trying to make it happen. Looks to the outside, and Devin Adams takes that defensive line. Doesn't give him any room. And defensive lines are good, but they could definitely compromise your exit through this bumpy little chicane. Both slowly making their way up to Bob Lindell. Devin Adams could hold off John Kelly until they make it to Bob Lindell, and then if he can put the pass on there, that's just a little traffic in between them. Give himself a little breathing room. Looks like 2 and 3. Nate Sides and Landon Orr still neck and neck. Ferrari's got the legs the Porsche just can't cope with, I guess. There is 5 Porsches in this race, and none of them are in the top 2. Pretty surprising. Almost as surprising as Tyler Langenberg, still in the Ford, still in first place, running away with it, building a healthy 2.5 second gap to Landon Orr back there. And I don't think he's got much to worry about, because Landon Orr, Nate Sides, they're going to be fighting. And he is just going to sit up here in his clean air, and he's going to run away with it. Patrick Cantrell still running a good race back here in 4th place. I think he's going to be happy with this finishing position. I think he's just going to be sitting back here, just keeping it clean, taking care of those tires, and hoping that Nate and Landon, or Sides, still probably hoping that they fight some more, they wear out their tires, giving him a chance to just catch up, maybe sneak past at the end for a podium. Who knows? Jeff McDonald pulling away from Bob Lindell, trying to catch back up to Patrick Cantrell. Still has a lot of work left to do in these last 17 minutes of the race. Bob Lindell also looks like just taking it easy mid-pack. Trying to take care of those tires. Trying to avoid gators. He did almost hit the gator in Sebring last week. He said it was a very harrowing experience, and it was a tough time for him. Back here, Devin Adams still able to keep it in front of John Kelly. He may have had a bad start, but he's had some pretty good battles in this race now. He still has about 15 minutes, 16 minutes to catch up to Bob Lindell. I don't know if a P5 is in the cards for him, but probably a P6 if he can just keep it clean and make his way back up. Looks like Nate Sides off the track. We'll see if it was anything major. Oh no, runs wide into the curbs, spins it around straight into the tires. Amazingly, not a ton of damage, but that was not very good. Let's take a look at that again in slow motion. Coming around that fast left-hander, it is super easy there for the back of your car to step out. That is turn. I should have these memorized. Coming around that turn T4, very fast sweeping left-hander. See when you come out there, the rear engine Porsche, you like let off the gas, it really likes to snap oversteer, and you can see him kind of drifting in there, and then when that back tire pops over the edge of that curb, it's done. He's just a passenger at that point, and there's not much he can do other than just get on the brakes and try to slow it down as fast as possible. Now, that looks like a pretty gnarly crash, but the iRacing gods sometimes forgiveth. It looks like he got away with that with minimal damage, but that did let Patrick Cantrell sneak into a podium position. Amazing. I'll fast forward myself back up to live because my computer does not want to cooperate with me. Apologize. So that is but poor Nate Sides in P4. Back with Jeff McDonald. See, now I thought this whole race there was going to be a Sides McDonald battle neck and neck, but I thought it was going to be for P1 and P2. But I think at the end of the race we're going to get a Sides McDonald battle for P4, P5. Incredible. Devin Adams still holding off John Kelly. I think John Kelly got into a lot of incidents tonight, and I think he's just biding his time, waiting for the right move so he doesn't spin it around again, trying to keep himself out of last place. Now let's go back to what I was trying to do. Well, let's see how much incidents everyone has. I am going to find it this time. Nobody crash. I found it. I'm blind, but I found it, and oh my goodness. If that is accurate, we have racked up a lot of incidents. I don't know. I don't think those are accurate because we're supposed to have a drive-through every 2x. But in Sebring, in almost 2 hours, hour and a half of racing, we had people who were at 0x. The most I think we had was around 7. If you look up here, we got 19, we got 5, 15, 16, another 15, 11. We got a lot of double digits. And granted, you don't get a bonus point. There's no safety bonus point here. It's a sprint race. You only get a bonus point for fastest lap. So I guess, throw safety out the window. What do I know? And looks like Nate Sides, although not in first place, still on the track to get that bonus point for fastest lap. Looks like Landon Orr went off the track. We'll see if there's anything serious. Lovely slow motion. We'll put it in top speed for you. Maybe. I'm struggling tonight, guys. But you get to see that in slow motion. Those flames are pretty cool. That off track's not too bad. You do get an off track if you head out that red and white curbing there, but he kept it out of the gravel. Everything was good to go. I keep trying this, thinking it's going to work, and guess what? It doesn't. Zip all the way back here to where we were. Coming down to turn 2. So off track, not a huge deal. He's still sitting here in P2, looking pretty comfortable. Patrick Cantrell, still in third place. Like I said, kept his cool, keep his tires good. He's in track for a podium. He only has to just keep it together for 11 more minutes. I believe in him. I think he can do it. He does have Nate Sides hunting him down lap after lap, but that's a 10-second gap. And with roughly 11 minutes left in the race, he's going to have a pretty rough chance of trying to catch up to Patrick Cantrell, especially because it does look like his car has a little bit of damage there. That back end looks a little funky. Let's see if we can take a look at it. Little scratches on the front. Not too bad. Yeah, that rear fender is looking a little rough. It's got some scrapes there. I'm surprised that tire still has air in it with the way it's cutting through that fender, but you know, those guys at Porsche don't mess around. So I think he's just gonna try to stick it in fourth and be happy with that and try to take it home. Behind him, Jeff McDonald. Pretty beat up car. Looks like Jeff McDonald did just crash. Let's see what happened. Looks like he's coming around turn 2 there. Coming down to turn 3. Ooh, catches the dirt a little bit. And once that back end goes on the Porsche, it goes. And that, he did destroy his bumper, but the alternate reality that we're living in, his bumper just whoop, right back on that car for him. So not a problem, but still pretty heavily damaged car. Wheel looks a little out of whack there. I think that was his last chance to actually catch up with sides, and he's going to have a lot of trouble doing that now. Zoop our way back up front here. He's still sitting there, P5. He could hope for a fastest lap, but I don't think he's going to be getting the fastest lap with the state that car is in. Just after that, there was Devin Adams. He had a crash. Let's take a look. Devin Adams coming up what looks Bob Lindell trying to make a pass. That same spot, only that looks very... Almost took out Jeff McDonald right there. Or John Kelly. Sorry, almost took out John Kelly. That was a bad track. That's a bad incident. Bad track. Bad crash. Right there. You get a little wide there. You hit that curb, as I said, just a passenger. Looks like after that we had Bob Lindell going off track. Let's see what happened. Oh no. The Porsches are just claiming everyone's lives. Where was that? That looks to be just for the back straight, but looks like he got on the brakes, kept it out of the wall, damage free, but he is back in 9th place right now. We got a lot of people going off track. Bob Lindell went off track. Jeff McDonald went off track again on the final corner. Not too bad. Just a little off track. Nothing serious. There's Jeff McDonald off track again. He's going crazy with those off tracks out there. He's just throwing them out like Oprah. Everyone gets an off track. Devin Adams also going off track. No bumper. Still getting more off tracks. Let's get back to live here. Back up to our front runner. Less than 10 minutes remaining. Less than 8 minutes remaining. About 7.5 minutes remaining of this race. Tyler Langenberg snuck through in all that turn 1 chaos and has just kept it riding up front the entire way. Just keeps building a healthy gap on Orr back there. Up to 4 seconds now. All he has to do is keep it clean, and he is going to take home the win. And we'll be talking in the booth with him later. Looks like Patrick Cantrell just passed Landon Orr because Landon Orr is off in that same corner. I bet he caught that curb. Coming down a little kink. Fast right-hander. There it is. That curb claims another one. Snaps it out, and his bumper disappears into the ether beneath the track where all bumpers go. And that is a rough track. That's going to be very disappointing. He was looking to take home an easy P2, keep it in front of sides, and that is just heartbreaking. He's got a lot of heavy damage on that Ferrari, and he's just going to have to try to limp it home now. Maybe if he can hold back Jeff McDonald, he could keep it. Well, he just has to hold back Kelly. He'll still be in P5, or top 5, but that is not looking good. That's going to be pretty disappointing. But that puts our man, Patrick Cantrell, up into P2. Even though it's not an endurance race, it's just a sprint race. It shows you what just being safe and consistent can do for you. And that is how this man races often. He may not be the fastest out on the track all the time, but he can go out and he can turn some consistent crash-free laps, take care of the tires, and sometimes that's all you got to do. Just look at this as the proof. He's sitting there, P2, up 2 spots from where he qualified. Kept it nice, kept it safe. And he's going to be getting interviewed. Looks like someone came off the track. Was that Bob? Oh no, Bob Lindell spun again. Man, I don't know. I don't know why anyone wants to drive a Porsche. That looks pretty rough. We have to take a trip to the chiropractor after that one. I don't know if his back's going to be okay. Looks like he did end up going into the pits. My guess would be a meatball from that one. He's going to have to go in and get repaired. Looks like that might be race ending for him. He might be finishing last place tonight. Looks like Nick Tiro might have went off track. We'll see if it's anything serious. Then an Orr went off track. Yeah, that car looks like it's probably a handful to drive. Yeah, I will be surprised if he can keep that on track and limp that home. That is looking pretty rough. Looks like Bob's still in the pits. Don't know if he's just decided to park it or if he's getting some repairs. It does look like his car is repaired. I think he's decided to park it. Might got some team orders. Nope. Here he comes. Maybe took a full tank. Not really sure. Maybe took some tires. Maybe he took tires and no full tank and he's gonna go out there and get that fastest lap. I don't know, but he has got Landon Orr coming up behind him in that scarily damaged Ferrari, and hopefully he does not become a casualty. Chris Kraus, bit of a lap 1 incident, still back there in 8th, but has managed to limp this bumperless Mercedes around this track for 26 minutes now. I don't think he's gotten many other incidents, so hats off to him. Hopefully he brought a spare car for the next race at Zandvoort. And so with 3.5 minutes remaining, your final order, of course, Tyler Langenberg still up front. Patrick Cantrell 8 seconds behind, looking to take home an easy P2 tonight. Nate Sides was thinking about fighting for podium tonight, but end up P3. Well, thinking about fighting for P1. He is getting a podium tonight if he can hold it together. Landon Orr, he's got Jeff McDonald sneaking up behind him. Probably going to try to get a pass done here in this last 3 minutes, but either way, he's going to end up with a top 5 and a pretty expensive repair bill from Ferrari to fix that bad boy up. Jeff McDonald qualified P1, down 4 positions. It goes to show you anything can happen in the race, and it's all about keeping out of trouble and trying not to get caught up in all those incidents. Only 1 position of his teammate, John Kelly, who actually looking to finish 1 spot ahead of where he qualified. So, I mean, I don't know. All things considered, might be a pretty good race for him. Devin Adams, again, caught up in that turn 1 incident with Chris Kraus. Got away relatively no damage, but then found his way to the wall later in the race. Still looking to finish here midfield, 7th place. Limping that Mercedes around just like Chris Kraus back here. The 2 bumperless Mercedes brothers. Haven't heard a lot from Nick Terrell. Besides that first incident, getting turned. I still don't think he's going to be happy about that one, but it looks like he is just keeping it clean, keeping it 9th place. Only down 1 spot from where he qualified. Maybe looking to get a pass done on Chris Kraus here in his last 2 minutes, but I'm not sure if there's much he can do. And we got our man Bob Lindell bringing up the rear. Looks like he did get past by our man Landon Orr, and it does look like Nick Tiro actually crashed. Let's take a look at it. Oh, it's that fast right-hander. It's gonna claim another one. You can't run too wide out on those curbs, especially when those tires are getting a little hot. Looks like he keeps it in. Almost gets smashed there by, it looks like Devin Adams. And then Chris Kraus again, having to dodge all of these crazy bumperless derby car Mercedes out here on the track. But he kept it out of the wall, still kept the car clean. He is not having a good first sprint race. Hopefully he can change his luck a little bit in the second race. Now each race this week is only half the points of a normal race. So first place in an endurance race, you would get 80 points. But here for the sprint weeks, first place gets 40 points for each race with a possible 1 point bonus for fastest lap in each race. So even though you do bad at this one, there is a great possibility to claw those points back at the next race at Zandvoort. But from what I heard people talking, I don't think anyone's very confident there either. Looks like Tyler Langenberg should be getting the white flag here this time by, since we are over the 30-minute mark. Came here and put on a clinic for everyone in the Ford. No incidents, no crashes, led every lap, letting everyone know how it is done. I'm proud of him getting out there and representing the Ford. That's what we needed. We've had enough Porsches for the night. Porsches try to kill you anyways. And it looks like that was the last lap. That's the checkered flag. Tyler Langenberg over in P1. He is definitely going to be celebrating that victory. Coming across in P2, Omex Sim Racing, Patrick Cantrell, and P3, Nate Sides, two teammates with their third teammate Landon Orr bringing up the rear in P4. Behind him, Jeff McDonald finishing in 5th place in that Ninja Botanical car. I don't think he's going to be very happy with this finish. He's going to be looking to make back some points next race. John Kelly, P6, coming across the line. Like I said, I think it's a positive race. He started 1 point away, 1 position ahead of where he qualified. And that's good. It's baby steps. Devin Adams, the first of the Derby car Mercedes to cross the line. Limped that poor German automobile all the way through this track for a torturing 30 minutes. And finishes in an amazing 7th place. Behind him in that Lamborghini, Nick Terrell. Also, just like Jeff McDonald, is probably looking to claw back some points next race. And oh my goodness, Chris Kraus. That is a very dog-legging Mercedes. He's really trying to bring it across the line there. That does not look good. Let's see what caused it. Wow, that is crazy. We'll let him take it home. He's got about, it looks like he's turned fully to the left and still going right somehow. That is impressive. That's some real Tokyo Drift oval racing stuff. That looks beautiful. Chris Kraus crossed the line, 9th place. 1st place in style. With Bob Lindell bringing up the rear. Let's take a look at that crash from Chris Kraus. Let's see what happens. I don't think we're going to see it. Looks like it must have been before that. Well, it's not doglegging here. Coming up here to the back straight. Was it right here on almost the last corner? Comes in. I don't know. I don't know what you did there, Chris. It looked pretty rough. And you didn't look like you had a good time, but hopefully you do better next race. Let's get this fixed here. The broadcast is pretty rough tonight, but let's take a look in the waiting room. Let's take first a talk with last place here, Bob Lindell. Bob Lindell, how's it going?
Greetings. It is going not the best that it could be going, but I've finished not in the pits, so gotta like that.
Yeah, it looks like you were holding it together pretty good there till the end, and then that Porsche just bit a lot of people tonight.
It was just a matter of a couple of incidents early on, just kind of shook the confidence, and then it was chasing it and kept the incidents going and never really got it back on track.
That did seem like a pretty rough finish, but hopefully you can claw the points back on this next race. I'm going to drop you back. We're going to talk to the others, and maybe we'll talk to you P1 interview next race.
All right, thanks.
Patrick Cantrell, you did not want to be in the booth again because you thought you were going to be last place, but you made your way up to P2. How did that feel?
That felt pretty good. kind of just hanging out in the middle. Thought I was going to settle for fourth, but then third and second both spun. So
Yeah, it looks like you were
uh,
just biding your time, having a safe drive, and that's what gets you sometimes.
yeah, I'm not sure if the curb got him or something, but I never had any scary moments there, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that curb on turn 4 was killing a lot of people tonight, but I am going to get you back there since we're going to be hopping into the new race. So thanks for talking with us.
All right, yep, see ya.
And then we'll talk to our newcomer P1 here, Tyler Langenberg. Oh my goodness, you
Hello.
took that crappy Ford all the way to P1, led every lap. How do you feel?
Yeah, the Ford has its benefits in some places, but yeah, it was a pretty good race by me, and pretty chill race. Once I realized like I was gapping in, I think it was either Landon or Nate. I forget who it was at the time, but once I realized I was like steadily increasing that gap, it was a lot more like comfortable, like
Yeah.
with driving off.
Yeah, you were just pulling away from everyone. That was a real nice move down to turn 1 with the chaos, and you just kind of snuck it through on the inside and pulled away. It was great.
Yeah, I didn't really expect Jeff to get like that bad of a start, especially like considering like he's the pole sitter. He should be like there or going, but I'll take him where I can get him.
Definitely. That was definitely an upset and not what I was expecting either, but I'm going to let you head back, and we're going to get ready for the next race.
10-4. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, everyone, it does it for Hungaroring, but at approximately 7:15, the practice session is going to open for Zandvoort, our second 30-minute race of the night. I am going to take a little break here, get things set up, hopefully fix my broadcasting issues I was having. So this is your chance. Get up, take your bathroom break. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. right, everybody. Welcome back to what is hopefully another 30 minutes of action-packed racing. We had quite the upset at Hungaroring. Some of the front runners who were expected to finish up front did not, and the newcomer Tyler Langenberg showed everyone what was up. This track, Circuit Zandvoort, is a very tricky track. Let's see if we can get the track map up on screen. Looks like I can't do what I want to do, but I can bring this up. Circuit Zandvoort doesn't even want to bring the track map up there. Look at that. It is so crazy. It doesn't even want to show it. Lovely. But it is much colder here today in Amsterdam, I think is the country. Netherlands. It's the Netherlands. That's who the Dutch are, right? I'm pretty sure. 65 degrees. Very humid out there. 81%. It's like a swamp out there. Partly cloudy. 12-kilometer wind. Now, we had a track temperature of 116 degrees Fahrenheit at Hungaroring, but we're only at 68 here at an altitude of 31 feet, and that is because this track is on the beach. You might see in some of the aerial shots, it kind of goes through some sand dunes. You get a really good view here from the bloom shot. Let's see someone who's starting a lap. Here's Jeff McDonald coming around the first corner, and you will see how swoopy and how crazy this track really is. There's the sand dunes there, as you can see. This corner here is an extremely banked corner. It looks pretty crazy. That's turn 3. We're coming here through turn 4 and 5. This kind of fast swoopy section through turn 6, now up to turn 7, which is a very long, seemingly never-ending right-hand turn. Down to a little straight. Up to turn 8, which starts sharp and then kind of goes out again, and then up to turn 9, which, again, another weird corner. Kind of part hairpin, kind of part right-hander. Swooping down into turn 10, which is, you guessed it, another hairpin. This is another F1 style track, so there's going to be a lot of swoopy corners and stuff like that. We're coming down this straight where it's going to be a super tight right-hander followed by a left hand hairpin right there. You got that nice gravel runoff if you mess it up. This is also another super banked corner. And then you got a little straight here coming up to turn 13. Again, like, look at the banking on that. Another right-hand corner and then another big right sweeper onto the main straight, which is a pretty big main straight right along the beach. And let's go on an onboard cam so we can really take in the banking that is on this track. Coming through here, turn 1. You'll see yourself come up turn 2, and then around turn 3, which is this, yeah, right here, heavily banked. You can barely even see in front of you, it's so banked. It just looks like you're driving into a wall. Up over this blind corner, blind right-hander. Down through the compression, the fast swoopy, and then up here on the right, again, blind corner. You can't see the apex until the very end. Corner's a little off camber, and right there, that off camberness, you get off the gas at the wrong time, or you come in a little too hot, and it's easy for that back end to swing around, just as it did here on Jeff McDonald. And through this almost never-ending corner that just tightens up right away out of nowhere, and then swings back wide. And you have another left-hander coming up here. Again, that apex, super hard to see. Coming up around here for the big kind of swoopy straight up to turn 11. And here's this really turn tight right-hander that you got to kind of hop over. And then the left, keep it out of the gravel, but you want to keep it on the inside to really take advantage of that camber. And that wall comes up super close to you on the edge there. You don't want to hit that. And then on It's turn 13. You're going to keep it out of the gravel on the side, and then this nice banked fast right-hander onto the main straight, dips down, and now all of a sudden we're going flat again. This track is going to be very challenging. If they thought Hungaroring was going to be challenging, this track is going to wake a lot of people up, I think. Jeff McDonald is going to be looking for a comeback this race, along with Nick Terrell and along with Nate Sides. They're going to be looking for a comeback. Bob Lindell is going to be trying to not get last, I think, this race. Hopefully he can keep it out of the wall. And Tyler Langenberg probably hoping to just keep it on pole and finish first for another 40 points. This is the sprint week, so it is 40 points per race. So if you did shitty last week, or last race, there's definitely some space for you to make up that time. And Jeff McDonald in the wall again. I don't know why anyone likes the Porsche. I hate the Porsche because that's always what happens in the Porsche. Now the Ford. Definitely the funniest looking dash of all the cars. You can tell it's the oldest car on the game. So it looks like we got about 3 minutes of practice left. And we're going to start our qualifying runs. That banked corner that Tyler Langenberg went through there is the famous corner that broke Danny Ricciardo's wrist in F1 this season for any F1 fans that took him out in his first race back. It's a tough one if you get it wrong. Season 4 standings so far, we do have Nate Sides in first place with 158 points, but Jeffrey McDonald is closing that gap. He is in second place right now with 156 points. And then the battle for third and fourth overall, Devin Adams and John Kelly only separated by 1 point, 143 points to 142 points. And closely right behind them in that gap, Landon Orr, fifth place with only 141 points. So third through fifth only separated by 2 points. The battle is still very close this season. Of course, we do have 3 drop weeks, 12 races. A lot of action left to go. Anything could happen. Bob Lindell and Patrick Cantrell, the rivalry, they are sitting currently in 6th and 7th, only 4 points separating them. Chris Krause sitting down in 8th, 106. But he was only able to show up for half of the very first sprint week, so he's a little behind on points. That's probably looking like a drop week for him. And Nick Terrell is sitting in 9th, but again, he missed the first week. He was only able to score points last week at our endurance week, so things are still close. Things will still be heating up. Drivers will be looking to make all the points they can, and it looks like Tyler Langenberg, fastest lap of a 134.4, a full 1 second ahead of Jeff McDonald in P2. Starting to look unstoppable. And goes off on that bank curve there. You go a little too wide, all of a sudden the banking runs out and you have ran out of grip. Only about 20 seconds left here, and we will get a start on qualifying. And, ooh, Jeff McDonald into the wall. Let's take a look at that one again. Just kidding. We're not going to take a look at that one again. It won't let me see it, but that was a pretty rough crash. That's what happened to you. And it looks like he that pit exit is a little tricky. You got to keep it in that white line when you're exiting, and it looks like he might have went a little too wide there. But there is our practice session over. 20 minutes for these drivers to get familiar with this racetrack, and hopefully they took advantage of those 20 minutes, because this is going to be a tricky track. This is going to be a tricky 30 minutes, and looks like Jeff McDonald's might be the first one. Jeff McDonald is I don't know. I may have had a stroke there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure. I was trying to see who's first on track, and I think it is Jeff McDonald. Jeff McDonald is first out on the track. He's looking to get out there and throw down a quick time and hopefully get on pole so he can make a good recovery on this track. But like I was saying, hopefully everyone took those 20 minutes to really learn this track. This is going to be a difficult track. I think this is going to be a track where a driver like Patrick Cantrell might really shine here, because you're really going to need to keep it safe. There is lots of tricky corners, there's lots of camber, there's lots of banking, there's lots of sand, there's lots of walls. There's a lot of stuff to make you have a very bad day. And I think the biggest thing here is just going to be keeping it safe, keeping it on track, keeping it in the race. I'm going to see if I can pull up my fancy qualifying graphics. Look at that. I'm learning, ladies and gentlemen. I am learning. I think down there are the first 4 people who will be setting a qualifying time if they don't mess up. Those are the first 4 on class. Looks like we are looking at Jeff McDonald. He's coming around the final turn. We're going to go on board with him again, and we're going to take a look at his first qualifying lap. Ooh. Wait for just a minute. It looks like he messed up his first qualifying lap there. That's what happens when you don't get on the brakes early enough and you run out of that banking. After the banking ends, there's not much grip up there. It's just a flat surface and a wall coming up. Looks like Tyler Langenberg is on course for a good first sector. He's got a purple. He's so far purple first sector, which does mean personal best. We'll see. I don't know if Jeff McDonald might have got instant there. And the back end loses it again. The Porsches are not kind. Jeff McDonald having a rough first lap. And you only get 2 laps. So this lap's messed up. He's only got 1 more to try to beat Tyler Langenberg, who is on track for another purple sector. It looks like Jeff McDonald here is just taking it easy. Gotta gather yourself, calm the nerves for this next qualifying lap. Hopefully he can keep it together this lap. Let's go take a look. Tyler Langenberg has just put in a lap, a 1:35.25, slaps time down the board and says, who can beat it? He's running on his second lap right now. Looks like John Kelly, P2, Patrick Cantrell, P3, Nate Sides, and Jeff McDonald putting in 4 and 5, but they're 11 seconds off the pace, so I don't think it's obviously not a good lap for them. But we're on board right here. Tyler Langenberg coming over this blind crest here into this swooping right-hander that gets tighter as it goes. And it really wants you to go out to the edge there, but there's that sand if you take it too far. There's that corner, can't cut it too much because there is that big sausage curb there that will make you have a bad day. Another tight corner here with a wide exit. And Tyler Langenberg already has another personal best first sector, so this is looking like a flyer of a lap. He's coming up here on this swoopy straight to this tight right-hander followed by a left hairpin with the big sand there that he's got to keep it out of. He's going to get on the brakes. He's going to cut it as tight as possible without hitting that sausage curb, and then he's going to ride that camber through the left of the corner. Getting a little loose on the exit. Was on track for a personal best second sector, but that switched to green. We're coming through here. Keep it out of the sand on to the last corner, onto the final straight. And we'll see what kind of time he can throw down. It does look like Landon Orr is currently ahead of him. Tyler Ankerberg crossed the line, throws down a 134.7. What a fast time. Landon and everyone else out there on the field definitely has some work to do. Landon Orr knocked down to P3. Jeff McDonald just squeaked out a P2 there. And that was his last qualifying lap. He's going to be running some more, probably trying to get some practice up before the race. You can run your 2 laps, and then you can keep running until that 8 minutes is over. Landon Orr looks like he has spun. Kept it out of the wall, though. Doesn't look like any damage. And he's still sitting at a nice P3. But only a 10th up from John Kelly. Looks like John Kelly's no longer running. So unless Chris Kraus and Devin Adams and the Derby Mercedes can pull something out of their butts, I think Landon Orr is going to keep P3. And Devin Adams is out. And it's all up to Chris Kraus right here. His last time was a 137.09. A little bit of connection issues there, but looks like he had a green sector. We'll see if his second sector turns purple or not. Maybe he does have time to run a personal best. Only needs a few hundredths to put himself above Bob Lindell and start not last. This is a tricky track, though. If you have not practiced this track and you came here thinking you were just going to hop in, you're going to be in for a bad time. Coming around the final corner through that big sweeper. It almost looks like an oval track. Honestly, the banking is crazy. It's crazy they race F1 cars here. But he's going down the final straight across the finish line, and what kind of time can Chris Kraus put in? Looks like not good enough. He's going to keep it at a 137.099. And he's going to park it. We only have 2 left here on track. Jeff McDonald's still out there, probably trying to get a little bit of practice. And along with Landon Orr, still out there, I think also getting a little bit of practice. I don't believe they're on their final lap, but we'll see if anyone improves here in the last 3 seconds. What was I talking about? 3 seconds. There's actually 10 minutes of qualifying, not 8 minutes. Got myself a little confused with the officials. What are you going to do? This is why I'm a pretend race car driver and not a professional broadcaster. This is only my second broadcast. Hopefully, I'm doing a little better tonight. Hopefully, it's a little more entertaining. Hopefully, you guys like this. Hopefully, you'll stick around. I don't know. We'll find out. It looks like Landon Orr was not able to improve on his time. And it does look kind of like sunset there. I don't know if it's going to get dark enough. We'll actually have to turn the headlights on, but it is evening. It is cold. There will be less tire degradation worries. Drivers should be able to push a little bit more. You got the banked corners. You got the cold track. You got the higher track usage. We should be good. One thing I did notice, no one pitted last race. Everyone was able to make that 50% fuel stretch the entire race, which was interesting because the first week we had some problems with people running out of fuel and they did have to pit. So we'll see if Zandvoort is any different. If people end up having to pit, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe people get a little less better at fuel saving. That would definitely make for a more interesting broadcast, probably. So let's look at our grid. There's 10 minutes of qualifying over, and you have in pole position again, not again, pole position for the first time, Tyler Langenberg in that Ford. Hopefully someone can stop him before he just runs away with the race again. And the man to do that, I think, is in P2, Jeff McDonald. Looking to have a better start. He'll be up closer this time. Hopefully he gets a better jump off the line. I'm not sure what happened with him last time, but hopefully he doesn't start glitching into the reality on that turn 1 like he did last time. P3, Landon Orr, I think qualifying higher than usual. Up there again in the lone Ferrari, taking on those Porsches. I'm proud of him. I think he's going to do great. P4, John Kelly. Very high qualifying. He's going to be right up there with his teammate Jeff McDonald. Hopefully able to provide some assistance this race. Maybe he'll be up there. Maybe they can draft a little bit, play that team game. We're going to find out. P5, Nick Tyrrell. A lot better than Hungaroring qualifying, which is surprising. This seems like a much more difficult track, but maybe he's into that. I don't know. P6, Nate Sides. This is an unusually low qualifying position for Nate Sides, so he must be struggling a little bit at this track. We'll see what he can make that Team Rahal Porsche do. P7. That, everyone, was my mic falling out of its stand and me catching it, so I apologize. It's back on. Hopefully that wasn't too jarring. Okay. P7, Patrick Cantrell in the Porsche, in the OMEC Porsche. Back there, ready to battle with Bob Lindell in P9. But in between him and Bob, P8, Devin Adams in the Derby Mercedes. Hopefully they can keep their bumpers on this race. We'll see what happens. P9, Bob Lindell in the other OMEC Porsche, looking to not be in the interview booth for last place interview this time. And bringing up the rear, Chris Kraus in that Mercedes. He's just out there trying his best. He can do it. I believe in him. Chris Kraus, last season, he only raced in the TCR cars. He's a big TCR. He's a big front-wheel drive guy. So I don't know. He's going to struggle to get to grips with that GT3 car, but he's basically a rookie this season. New car, new drivetrain layout, front wheel drive to rear wheel drive. He's, he's seeing the light, going away from the dark side, driving the fun cars. Hopefully he's having a good time. Hopefully he sticks around. I don't know. He's been here 4 years. We'll see. But it looks like we have a long pace lap here at Zandvoort, not a short one. So we're going to do an entire pace lap around this whole swoopy banked circuit. Let's get... We don't want that up there. We want this up here with the timing tower. Let's see if we can get our track map up. Wants to cooperate. It doesn't. It doesn't like Zandvoort. It doesn't think it exists, so you don't get your track map in the corner. I'm sorry. Even race info. It's gone. Nothing exists. So, we're lining up. Going through the pace lap for the final race of the evening. 30 minutes around Zandvoort in the Netherlands on the beach. It's pretty crazy. They all got those cars from Hungary to Zandvoort in a matter of 15 minutes. That's amazing. Chris Kraus, Devin Adams, brand new Mercedes waiting for him. Hopefully they can keep it out of the wall this time. Hopefully Jeff McDonald can stay out of the instance turn 1 and give kind of a challenge for Tyler Langenberg. Hopefully we can see some good battles. Hopefully the sun stays up. We'll see. I don't think it's going to go dark, but you never know. Anything could happen. And we'll see if there's any pit stops tonight. I'm very surprised everyone made it through on 1 tank of fuel and didn't have to pit. once again. Very long pace lap. Zandvoort doesn't like short pace laps, I guess. Shout out to the iRacing safety car. Faithfully doing its duty since 2008. He's getting pretty old. He's almost ready to retire, but he's still out there. He's still driving that safety car. He's still making it work. Tyler Langdenberg blinking a little bit. Hopefully his internet issues do not continue throughout the race. That would be a real shame. Coming around the final corner. Safety car is going to dive into pits, and we are going to have 10 GT3 cars full throttle powering towards turn 1, and hopefully chaos will not ensue. Everyone's bunching up. We're coming down here waiting for those lights to turn green.
Green, green, green.
And there's the green flag, and we are off. 10 GT3 cars powering down the main straight. Tyler Langdenberg still in front, followed closely with Landon Orr behind him. And Jeffrey McDonald too wide into turn 1. Jeff McDonald's looking for the move on the inside, but Tyler Langdenberg is going to keep it on the inside and pull away in first place. Everyone getting through cleanly. We're going to pull through here. This is that blind right-hander. We got Nate Sides off in the gravel on turn 2, going through this deep cambered corner. Let's see what happened to Nate Sides. Hopefully he kept it out of the wall. Nate Sides coming through. Looks like trying to avoid Nick Terrell, but just gets it in the gravel there, but he puts it back on track just like a professional. But that's shuffling him towards the back of the pack, and he is going to have a lot of ground to make up now in these 30 minutes. Looks like out front, Tyler Langdenberg still with a little bit of internet connectivity issues. I'm not able to find him on the track. But Jeff McDonald, we got to change my camera. There we go. I'm learning. Tyler Langdenberg's still not on the track. There he is. Jeff McDonald behind him. Tyler Langdenberg, a little bit of connectivity issues. His internet's blinking. Hopefully it'll hold out for the rest of the race because he has that Ninja Botanicals Porsche right on the back of him, looking for vengeance, looking for a recovery, looking to get back in the points. We'll see if he's going to make any crazy moves or if he's just going to hold back and sit there and try to finish P2. Looks like we have Chris Kraus off the track. Let's see what happened. Oh yeah, just gave it a little too many beans. Like I said, front wheel drive guy, he's coming to grips with the rear wheel drive reality. Maybe he'll get there. And we go back to live, and it's putting me in the scenic view. I don't like that one bit. Tyler Langdenberg still in first place, followed closely by Jeff McDonald. And Chris Kraus has crashed. Let's see what happened. He recovered. This looks to be coming up to the banked corner for the tight right-hander. He does not look very confident going through there. It looks like he is just gonna... Maybe he's waving to someone in the crowd. I'm not sure what's happening. It looks like he's just gonna take his time. Does someone want to breathalyze this man? I don't know what is happening. Maybe it's kind of a parade. Maybe he's got a mechanical issue. Maybe something. I'm not sure, but he's coming around the last turn. Let's see if he's going to pick up the speed or he's going to pull into the pits. It looks like he is going to continue on. We'll check in with you later, Chris Kraus. We'll see what happens. You play your cards right, you might get a last place interview. He's sitting back there 40 seconds behind Bob Lindell. So I'll be interested. We might have to talk to him at the end of the race anyways and see what's going on. Tyler Langdenberg building a healthy gap. I'm not sure what happened to Jeff McDonald. Let me see if I can find out what was going on here. Here's where John Kelly passed Jeff McDonald. Let's see what happened. Oh, looks like Jeff McDonald just had a little bit of a lockup there. Missed his braking zone. Just passed him by just a little bit. It looks like Patrick Cantrell got a pass on Nick Terrell. Ooh, just got it out on the inside there. Got a great exit with that Porsche. One thing the Porsche does excel at is exits with that big, heavy engine on the back, but not enough. Still too wide coming in, and he has to just tuck back in behind Nick Terrell. What an excellent bit of racing. Ooh, Tyler Langenberg went off the track. We'll see if that's serious. Ooh, just a little bit. Oh, a little bit on the grass on the edge, but he keeps it. He keeps it under control, back on track. But that was just enough for Jeff McDonald to catch right up to the back of him, close that gap down that was up to 2 seconds, and it's back down to just 0.8. He's probably looking to make a move. Hopefully, he can get something done. Looks like Chris Kraus entered the pits. His car does look clean. I don't know if anything's wrong with him. I think he might just be having a bad day. It looks like he is out of the car. Hopefully, we'll see him back in the car at some... Oh, I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see him back in the car later tonight. We'll see what happens. If anything, we'll get an interview with him. Don't you worry. Looks like Jeff McDonald has closed that gap to just half a second. But that Ford does have the legs on the straight. If there's one thing the Ford can do, it can do top speed. Jeff McDonald still sitting there in second. Landon Orr back up to third, where he qualified. I think he's looking to just keep it clean this race and hopefully stick with the podium and keep Patrick Cantrell behind him. Patrick Cantrell made his way back up to fourth. He qualified in P7. So it looks like through all of the kind of hullabaloo there at the start, he got around it. It looks like he eventually did get around Nick Terrell. Let me see if we can go back and see what happened. It looks like Nick Terrell went off the track. Let's take a look. Ooh, yep, that tie right-hander right there. You don't get on the brakes soon enough, you're going to be through the kitty litter there, and that has opened him up to Patrick Cantrell. And Devin Adams stuck his nose on the inside, trying to make a move, but Nick Terrell was not having that. It looks like Devin Adams, Nate Sides passed Devin Adams, and then Devin Adams crashed. Let's take a look. Nate Sides lining up a pass here. Ooh, Devin Adams just loses it going wide and into the barriers. Let's see if we can take a look at Devin Adams' crash. Let's do a little slow-mo on this one. Let's see how he loses it. Coming around this kink, and then there's the left-hander. Hits the curb, and I think that unsettles the car just a little bit, and then once that back end goes around enough, you are just a passenger. Trying to get it turned, trying to get it straightened out. The barrier did get it straightened out for him, but I don't think that's what he was hoping for. Chris Kraus left the pits. Looks like he's back on the track, and then had a little off-track incident. Let's see what's going on with Chris Kraus. That's in slow motion. Right there where Nick Terrell went off. You don't get on the brakes early enough, and that is a blind corner. It's hard to see when someone's coming around there. It's hard to see where the braking point is. It's very tricky. It's easy to go off there. Looks like Chris Kraus entered the pit lane again. He is not having a good night, ladies and gentlemen. This is a man who is getting bit hard by Zandvoort. It's a tough track, and this will happen. But then he did leave pit lane again, so I'm not sure. He probably came in through a drive-through, I'm assuming, with the amount of incidents he's been racking up. But I like to see him still out there racing. He's a trooper. He's not going to give up. We're back with our man Patrick Cantrell, holding it down in fourth place. 4 seconds behind Landon Orr. 6 seconds ahead of Nick Terrell. Just hanging back there in fourth place. Excuse me, not 6 seconds. He's 4 seconds from the leader. Let's change that from gap to interval. Hold on. Hold, please. How about that? There we go. He's 1.5 seconds ahead of Nick Terrell. And 3 seconds behind Landon Orr. But I think Nick Terrell... Oh, no. Sorry. 0.8 seconds from Landon Orr. He's really catching up on Landon Orr. I'm learning. I'm getting better. We're going to figure out what things are. Devin Adams crashed. Let's take a look. Or is that same crash? That is the same crash. And that has him was in the pits. Entered the pits. He must have had a little bit of meatball there because his fender popped out a little bit. Looks like he's taking tires, taking some gas, and he is dipping out. And we'll see if he heads back. The two Mercedes, they're having a rough time this season. I don't know what's going on. We'll see. Looks like Patrick Cantrell still sticking on the back of Landon Orr, hoping to make a move. Although, he's probably not hoping to make a move. He's probably hoping to keep it right there and finish with a good 4th position, because that's what he's all about. But Jack McDonald's is not letting Tyler Langenberg run away with this race so easy. He's sticking right to the back of him. That's a gap of 5.5 seconds. He's right there. He's going to be waiting for a mistake. He's going to keep his car in the mirrors. He's going to say, I'm here, and I'm waiting for you to mess up, and I'm going to take that P1. And Tyler Langenberg looking to take P1 again and sweep this week with a nice 80 points. Looks like so far we do have Landon Orr with a 134.8 for the fastest lap, so he's looking to capitalize on that bonus point. We go back here to Bob Lindell. Is catching up to Nick Tyrrell. It looks like Nick Tyrrell is struggling a little bit on this track, and Bob Lindell is keeping his Porsche there. Looks like he might be making a move. Coming into this right-hander. I should know these track corners better, but I don't because I'm the world's worst broadcaster. That OMAC Porsche is hunting down that Lamborghini, and it did say Nick Tyrrell crashed. Am I not live? I thought I was live. Hold on. Or is this how Bob caught up to Nick Tyrrell? This must have been how Bob has caught up to Nick Tyrrell. Let's see what happened. Going around this corner, even the camber couldn't keep the back end of that Lamborghini in place. Goodness. Gets it whipped around with a quick little burnout there, and I think this is where we're going to see Bob Lindell catch up to the back of him. Yep, there he is. Nick Tyrrell not having a good race. Chris Kraus back into the pits. Let's pull up our off tracks here. Oh, let's go back to live. It says only 2 off tracks. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's up with Chris Kraus. Chris Kraus passed Devin Adams. I don't know where the pass would be unless he just popped up in the pits. I'm not sure what's going on there, folks. There's some shenanigans tonight with the Mercedes. But Bob Lindell starting to fall off the back of Nick Tyrrell there a little bit. 1.5 seconds. Just doesn't have it in him to keep up with that Lamborghini and Nick Tyrrell. But if Nick Tyrrell can just keep it together, he might be in for a top 5. But he is 7 seconds away from Nick's sides, and he has a lot of ground to make up. Looks like that cambered corner right there might be the death of him. Looks like the entry was a little sketchy, and then he's running out real wide there on the curb. And Tyler Langenberg starting to pull away again. The Ford is unstoppable tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Landon Orr crashed. Let's see what happened. Coming down the main straight. Going into P1. Did he cook it? Not get on the brakes hard enough. Going around and just loses the back end. That's going to be a pretty disappointing incident for Landon Orr. That handed 3rd place over to Patrick Cantrell, and then Nate Sides coming around the outside, able to pull him for 4th place. And that little mistake, that spin, took Landon Orr from P3 to P5, and that's what I'm talking about with this track. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the most aggressive. You don't even have to be the most skilled. You just have to be, honestly, the cleanest. If you look at our person up front here, Tyler Langenberg, I don't think he's made a mistake all race. Actually, that's wrong. Jeff McDonald and Tyler Langenberg both made a mistake. That's how they kind of spread out, and then they got back together. But Patrick Cantrell up 4 spots from his qualifying position. I think he's just keeping it safe, keeping it clean, probably trying to save a little fuel so he doesn't have to pit, taking care of those tires. Landon Orr behind. Probably a pretty disappointing crash for him. And he's going to be thinking that he has 15 minutes to catch his way back up to Nate and possibly Patrick. Try to pull his way back on the podium, but that is going to be a pretty tall order for that OMAC Ferrari. Especially when he could, in about 10 minutes' time, have Nick Tyrrell in an angry black Lamborghini trying to slot his way into the top 5. He had a pretty promising season debut at Sebring last week, but it's just starting to struggle a little bit here at this Dutch race and at Hungaroring. John Kelly had a pretty promising qualifying, but just got into a couple of incidents, had a couple of mistakes, and he's down 3 places into P7. It looks like he's 4 seconds behind Nick Terrell, and that gap does look like it's not getting that much smaller. John Kelly in the Ninja Botanicals Porsche. Looks like Bob Lindell crashed. Let's take a look and see what happened. Bob Lindell looks like coming up to what looks to be... Ooh, the big corner with the camber. You would think with the amount of camber that corner has that you could really just kind of throw your car in and it would stick. But it seems like we've really had some drivers struggle on that corner tonight. And that did cost Bob Lindell a place. He was trying to gain on Nick Terrell, but I don't think that's going to happen for him tonight. Bob Lindell does seem kind of struggling to come to grips with the GT3 car after driving GT4 for the last 3 seasons. I don't know. Personally, I think he needs to be a Ferrari guy, but what do I know? It does look like Chris Kraus is back on track, but Devin Adams is nowhere to be seen. I think he is our first retirement for the night. Let's check here. Nope. Looks like Devin Adams is out. Chris Kraus is still driving around. And hopefully we'll get to talk to him after the race and see what was going on. Need to get back to my live view. Yes, Devin Adams is out. So it looks like we are running Tyler Langenberg first place. Jeff McDonald, P2, 1.3 seconds behind, and another 8 seconds behind them. Patrick Cantrell looking to take home 3rd place, but as long as he can defend against Nate Sides, who's only 1 second away from him, and looks like that gap is closing. Landon Orr in 5th place. Probably hoping Sides and Cantrell are going to battle. Let's take a look at Sides and Cantrell and see what's going on. Ooh, runs a little wide there on the gravel, kicking up some dust before the last corner, coming up on the main straight. Nate Sides is 1 second ahead. Patrick Cantrell swoops to the inside, trying to break that draft, trying to pull away from Nate Sides as good as he can, coming into turn 1, which I think did good. He pulled about 2/10 on him through there. Now coming through a more technical section of the track. You got this right-hander, again, blind. Hard to see the corner, and then you have this banked corner of turn 3, taking it through there. Turns 4, 5, and 6, basically flat out, but just really hilly, blind apexes. You really got to put your car in the correct spot to get through there quickly. Turn 7, this big right-hander, almost never ending. It's really hard to get the apex on that one. To get into turn 8, where that sharp apex sneaks out of nowhere. Into turn 9, decreasing radius right-hander, which those Porsches should have good exits on with that big engine over the back of that rear axle. Coming through turn 10, up to this big straight, and looks like Nate Sides is off there in the gravel again. He's having a hard time rustling that Porsche around this track. trying to catch up to Patrick Cantrell. He was closing the gap, but looks like he's fallen back by over half a second. As long as Patrick Cantrell can just keep up his concentration and keep Nate Sides back there, I think he's going to be able to secure himself another podium. Up front, looks like Jeff McDonald was under a second. Close. Oh yeah, 0.7 to Tyler Langdenberg. He's trying to close that gap. He's keeping it right with him. He's trying to keep the pressure on him. And we'll see if that will lead to any fuel strategy at the end of the race. If you got that car in the back in your mirror the whole time, you can't just take it easy. You can't just take it easy, sit there and drive calmly for the last, because you got an 8-10 second gap. You got someone right behind you. You got to give it your all. You got to do the best you can every lap. And that's hard to do while fuel saving. Looks like he got a pretty bad exit coming out of that corner, though. He did not take that well, and that is just that little mistake, and that's put him 3.1 seconds behind. Looks like John Kelly is within a half a second of Nick Tyrrell, because Nick Tyrrell crashed. Let's take a look and see what happened. That's coming out of turn 1, turn 2 here. Coming up to turn 3, this heavy banked corner. Is he going to lose again here? He is. There is just no grip there for some of those cars. He got out of there with no damage, but that let John Kelly get right up behind him once again. Back to the live action. Hopefully Nick Tyrrell can keep him off his tail, but that gap is down to 5 seconds. John Kelly looking to make some moves, looking to make some more positions. His season debut so far has been a little lackluster, but he's trying to come to grips with that Porsche and try to make up some ground. Looks like Nick Tyrrell running a little wide there onto the dirt. Closing the gap down to 0.4 seconds. Coming on the back straight, Nick Tyrrell takes the inside, trying to break the draft. John Kelly behind him. That Lamborghini screaming down the straight, coming into turn 1. Around this hairpin. Up through sweeping turn 2, almost on the gravel there on the exit, and he's looking to come up to that, again, banked hairpin, and we'll see if he can keep it together this time. Yeah, see, now that's how you're supposed to take that corner. If he could just do that every time, he probably wouldn't have as many problems. Behind them in 8th place, Bob Lindell, running a clean race in the back. He recovered from his one crash, with coming out of it with no damage. Looking to keep it clean, hold it together for these last 8 minutes. Landon Orr still in P5, probably was worried about having to fight off Nick Tyrrell, but luckily he spun on that camber corner that he just went through there, and now he has a comfortable 11-second gap. He's 4 seconds from Nate Sides in front of him, and I think he's just going to take it easy and try to finish out these last 7.5 minutes and get a good top 5 result. These two up here, 3rd and 4th, 2 OMEC Porsches, going to be battling for podium. Patrick Cantrell up 4 spots from qualifying. Nate Sides up 2 spots from qualifying. Nate Sides, usually a very strong finisher, is probably going to be looking to get around Patrick Cantrell here before the end of the race. Very curious to see what their fuel load is looking like. If Nate Sides is trying to save some fuel there behind Patrick Cantrell. If he's worried about finishing the race, this is the perfect time. Sit back behind, lift and coast through the corners. Try to save as much fuel as possible. But he is closing the gap there at 0.7 seconds. Looks like John Kelly also right at the back of Nick Tyrrell. Again, 0.4 of a second. Let's go take a look at them. It looks like he's moved from sitting there biding his time to a little more of an attack mode. He's right there all over the back of his bumper, trying to get a good exit, trying to get the legs in that Lamborghini. He's tired of sitting back there in 7th. He wants to get up to 6th. He started at 4th this race, and he's looking to make back some of those positions that he lost at the start of the race. Coming up here, coming up to land an ore, Nick Terrell has made up the time, and it looks like we might have a battle for P5 on our hands towards the end of this race. Both coming through that bank corner. Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Porsche coming down into this swoopy right-hander. 4, 5, and 6. That's the final corner. Here we're on the main straight. John Kelly is right behind Nick Terrell, looking to get a draft, but that Lamborghini looks like it has the legs. Will he throw it down the inside? He doesn't. Clips the grass a little bit on the outside. Luckily, keeps a hold of it, but Nick Terrell has a Ferrari in front of him that he's going to have to navigate, and it looks like that compromised his exit to turn 1 a little bit. Coming up here, turn 3, that banked hairpin. Taking a little wider line than usual. And now they're on their way down to turns 4, 5, and 6. Going through this turn tight turn 8 through turn 9 up to turn 10 hairpin. Looks like John Kelly is getting close to the bumper of Nick Terrell. We'll take a break from this, and if we go to Nate's sides, it looks like he is also right on the bumper of Patrick Cantrell. He's going to be looking to make a move. We have less than 5 minutes remaining in this race, and if they saved enough fuel, there's going to be a time where they're like, I got enough fuel. I got to put the hammer down. I got to make something happen. I got to get that podium. Patrick Cantrell driving super defensively, dipping on the inside, trying to break that draft, but he just cannot shake the bumper of that Team Rahal Porsche coming through turn 1. And this is where it's going to get tough. They're pushing each other, and you got to not make any mistakes because it's a very unforgiving track. And Nate Sides throws it on the inside, but Patrick Cantrell makes a stick on the outside and keeps position. That was a very good move. Nate Sides trying to do everything he can to get past him, but couldn't make it stick on the inside. On that banked corner, it is actually a little faster to take the wider line, so it's hard to get a move done throwing it up on the inside. It looks like Nick Terrell only a tenth of a second behind Landon Orr, right on the bumper, trying to make it work. Coming through the right hand, sticking his nose in. Wow. That's insane. Looks like these are the final 2 corners. Runs a little wide up to this little straight. Right on the back bumper. He is not giving Landon any room to breathe. If I was Landon, I would be sweating seeing that black Lamborghini all in my mirrors. But then Nick Terrell, same situation going on with him, with John Kelly behind him, getting a little loose coming out of that corner. They are sticking in their group. There is going to be a fight here at the end. Less than 3 minutes remaining of this race. We're on lap 18. Going through that camber, Nick Terrell keeps it together, but didn't have quite a good exit. And now John Kelly is right behind him, trying to make something happen. Going through turn 5? Turns 4, 5, and 6, this swoopy section. Or I'm sorry, this is the last corner. Here they are on the main straight, powering down, trying to get the draft, trying to make something happen, trying to make a move into turn 1, but they just can't get it done. That Ferrari just has the legs. And Nick Terrell's late on the brakes, misses his braking point, almost puts it in the wall, has to make the escape route, and he is out of the battle for P5. Let's see what happened there. Coming down the main straight, was just trying to get late on the brakes to try to get ahead of Landon Orr, and just, does not time that correctly. That's going to take him out. But big news, looks like we had Landon Orr crash just after that. Let's take a look. I'm not sure what that's from. But Tyler Langdenberg crashed. Tyler Langdenberg, first place. Let's see what happened. Coming up, this is that hairpin. This is that banked corner, that banked tight left-hander. Oh, the back end just slips around. He keeps it out of the wall, but that is going to let Jeff McDonald take over for first place. That is heartbreaking. Now Tyler Langdenberg is 2 seconds behind, and not only has Jeff McDonald still first place, he has the fastest lap That's what I was saying, folks. That's all it takes. One slight mistake, and there's your race gone. Now, John Kelly looking. He already capitalized on Nick Terrell, missed his braking point. He's right on the bumper of that Ferrari coming down the main straight. Landon Orr is going to take the defensive line, forcing John Kelly to go around the outside. He's going to try to make it stick. He looks like he's ahead, but he just doesn't have the grip to make it stick on the outside. The half-hour hard racing, those tires are probably a little worn down. So he's going to come up through 2 and 2. Ooh, the back end gets loose through there, coming into the hairpin. He saves it miraculously. And now, but that's going to push him back. He's a little bit of half second now. Going past the back marker, Chris Kraus. Going through turns 4, 5, and 6. He's got some ground to make up. This is going to be their last lap. 29 minutes and 52 seconds of hard racing. And that might have been his only option. And back, we have Nick Terrell in the wall behind. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, just got it loose. Nick Terrell not having a good time. This is the final lap. Jeff McDonald over in a P1. Tyler Langenberg, P2. What an upset. Patrick Cantrell coming down the line, P3. Nate Sides behind him in P4. Not able to get that pass done. Landon Orr, this is his chance to hold John Kelly behind him to get his top 5. And he's coming around the top corner, and it looks like he is going to make that happen. That black and orange and purple Olmec Ferrari coming across the line for P5 with John Kelly in the Ninja Botanicals Porsche right behind him, taking it up for P6. That was, what a battle. That was beautiful racing. Behind him, Nick Terrell in the Lamborghini, finishing the race in reverse. Can he keep it out of the sand? He can. That let Bob Lindell get around him. Free spot for Bob Lindell, but we have Nick Terrell in this Lamborghini, finishing the race in reverse. He has had it. He is done. He is just going to take... He's going to do it. He's going to get around there in reverse. Let's see Bob Lindell cross the finish line in 7th place. Says, see you, Nick Terrell. You're driving backwards, but I'm done with you. Good job, Bob Lindell. Up 2 spots from qualifying. And then as we wait for the final person to cross the line, Nick Terrell in that 81 black Lamborghini in a never-before-seen move, unprecedented here in the OMEC Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge Racing. We have our first driver to finish in reverse in P8. Finish in reverse, not last place, by the way. I would say not too shabby. And behind him we have Chris Kraus, who called it a day, and Devin Adams retiring. What a crazy 30 minutes of racing we had there. Here's our final results. Tyler Lang, no, that's our practice results. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why that's showing practice results, but Jeff McDonald was able to get around Tyler Langenberg at the very end there for P1, making Tyler Langenberg finish P2. We have Patrick Cantrell, P3, Nate Seitz, P4, Landon Orr, 2 spots down from qualifying, but was able to hold it together for a top 5 finish. John Kelly couldn't quite get around Landon Orr at the end, so he was there in P6. Bob Lindell got around the backwards Lamborghini to finish P7, and Nick Terrell, that backwards Lamborghini, finished P8, and we have the 2 Derby car Mercedes finishing in the rear. Chris Kraus, P9, Devin Adams, P10. Give us a minute here, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get our drivers in the booth for some interviews. And everyone here is Chris Kraus. Now, you're the first in the waiting room. You didn't technically get last, but we're going to interview you anyways. What happened out there today?
A sticky brake pedal. That was great. I started the race trying to go full speed down the straights, and found out my brake pedal was about 20% the whole time.
I was wondering if there was a mechanical issue there. It looked like something weird was going on.
Yeah. So that was pit number 1. And then... unsafe pit exits. That was cool. and automatic black flag, which means on my screen it was showing just do a drive-through. So I did 2 drive-throughs and it wasn't clearing. So then I actually went into my pit, and that's when I found out it was a 30-second hole.
That is a real rough time. I was wondering why there was so many pit stops for you. I thought they were drive-throughs, or I don't know.
Oh yeah, just having an interesting night, and yeah, definitely need to practice. But
Well,
it was a cool track though.
that Mercedes is some bad luck because Devin Adams did not fare any better himself either.
No, he did not, unfortunately.
He did not.
I didn't even know what happened. What happened with him? I guess I could go back. But...
He also crashed. He spun, hit the wall, and he was out for the race. I think he just called it quits.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So, well, I mean, I got to bring some flavor to the field, right? I don't want to just be Porsches. So
exactly. You made it an interesting broadcast. So hopefully we'll see you back next week. We'll get some practice in you, and we'll get a better finishing position.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And now we're gonna hear from Tyler Langenberg. It looked like you had it in the bag, and then just there at the very end, a small mistake cost you the win.
Yeah, I bottled it a bit there, but it was fun racing. It's fun track, fun racing with y'all. I might come back next week if I have the time. But yeah, I was really trying to find like a really good line through that corner. Like for most of the race, I tried like low, I tried middle, I tried high, and I just kept getting free like on entry because I was either carrying too much speed or like mid corner too much speed, and it was just fun track, just tricky with this setup combo.
Yeah,
with the medium downforce.
That heavy bank corner tricked up a lot of people tonight. You definitely weren't the only one going off there. It seemed like everyone was taking different lines too. There were some high lines, some low lines, so that was definitely a tricky spot.
It's like oval racing. Gotta find the grip.
Exactly. Well, hopefully we will see you back next week. There were some good battles. Hopefully we can get you back racing again.
10-4. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. That was our P2 finisher, and now let's talk to our race winner back on form, Jeff McDonald. Jeff, how are you doing tonight?
How you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm doing good. That was a pretty exciting race. I didn't think you were going to be able to pull it off at the end there, but you kept it just in range with Langenberg, and you made that mistake on that super banked corner there. How did that feel?
Yeah, that was, well, I think in the beginning, I was just trying to stay on his back bumper to see if he'd make a mistake. And, I mean, I've been racing with Tyler for a while now, and he's pretty solid. So I wasn't really expecting a mistake, but considering the new track layout, and I'm like, well, there's a chance for anything. So I just kind of hung on his back bumper, and I got about halfway through the race, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it on fuel. So I started saving, and then I started getting faster. It seemed like the more I tried to lift early and coast in and roll the corners, the faster I got. I think I ran my fastest lap, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 laps from the end or something. And, but I was really sweating the fuel thing, and he got out on me, I don't know, like 3 seconds or something like that. And I'm like, well, I can't let him get that far out, because if we got a pit, I'll never get a chance to get ahead of him. So I got to close this up. And then he had that spin, and then I was able to, I was at least able to hold him off there at the end. But that was fun, though. It was a good race. It's my first time running on this configuration. I haven't run it since they updated it, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was very good racing. I'm excited to see you were back in first. What happened there at the previous race on the turn 1? It looked like you kind of got stuck there on the outside.
I went back and watched the replay. I can't find out when the green flag came out, but I felt like I got jumped on the start, and the P2 car was like almost half a car length ahead of me when the green flag came out, and moving forward a little bit. So I don't know really what happened, but then I missed my brake marker because I had him on one side and I had I forget who it was on the other side, in a black car, Patrick maybe, and so I missed my brake mark, and I just got in there way too deep. And then coming off that corner, I had all those cars around me, and Nate's car was like inside my car with some netcode or something. At least that's the way it looked even in the replay.
Yeah, I was seeing that. It was like you're glitching through reality there.
and I couldn't hear my engine, so I heard his engine in the car. That there was another car coming up on the right, so I heard all these engines. I totally missed my shift, and they all blew past me. I couldn't even hear my car revving, and his car like was touching my shoulder. So I was kind of freaking out and not looking at my shift light, and I didn't even, I just completely missed the shift, and it went downhill from there. So
Gotcha. Well, that was.
I love that track too. That was kind of disappointing. That's one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, that's a tough track for me. I never do very good there. So, well, that was good having you. That was a really good race. Hopefully, we'll see you back next weekend for the endurance one. And thanks for racing with us.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I love the way you guys are running the league, and it's fun. I kind of like the sprint one week and endurance the other week. It's working out pretty good. So
yeah, we tried that last season, and we had a lot of good feedback about it. So we decided to do it again.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot so much for running the league and the broadcast and everything. Appreciate what all you guys do.
No problem. Thank you for showing up and racing with us. So you have a good night.
No problem. You too.
All right, everyone. Well, that concludes this racing for the night. That was a pretty exciting last race. Next Tuesday, we will be heading to Laguna Seca, week 4. It's going to be an endurance race. It's going to be another 90-minute race. We're going to have pit stop action. We could have a safety car action. You never know. There's going to be a lot going. Hopefully, we got all the newcomers shown back up next week for next race. Hopefully, Chris Kraus gets a little more practice in. Keep those Mercedes out of the wall. And hopefully, you guys all show up to watch the next broadcast. Until then, this is your host signing off, fake racing driver Marcus Osborne. I will talk to you guys next week.